Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Battle Brothers Season 3, where today, with our stopover in Oberberg complete, we push on to Damwald. We've still got some cargo to deliver, though in retrospect, given that I think the bulk of our trade goods are in Helvik, Tangval, Agerstedt, and then Oberberg, I think we will do one more loop. Just to load up on trade goods, hopefully pull enough from additional contracts to hire our first retinue, and potentially uncover a few more barbarian war camps, because I would like some more heavy throwing weapons for Valen. That's the tentative idea anyway. I mean, we'll see how it actually works out in execution. As always, we are beholden to the RNG, so, you know, we'll take it one step at a time. And given, of course, that we are currently trying to hire our first retinue, we'll take the matching ambition. That's certainly convenient timing. And then after that, let's hope we either get the trade good ambition or the dozen men ambition. Both match up pretty nicely with our current short-term plans. Finally, you've made it. Gebbard the Wise is standing there in the middle of the road, a slick grin on his cheeky face. Sellsword, I was not sure you'd make it. The roads are rough these days. Yes, well, that's why I didn't take the roads. But I will take my gold. Pleasure doing business. And once again, missing people. Man, these northern towns just cannot catch a break. Though they do have hunting season. Might as well grab some cheap food while we're here. Sadly, they don't have a trapper structure in this town. Otherwise, we'd also be able to grab discounted pelts and valuable furs. Man, a 3-skull contract with missing people. That is potentially very bad news. Anatomist out in full force, though. That certainly tracks. You know what? Let's give it a shot. We can at least get a gander at what the job is. My main concern is that it might end up being like Hex or Alp, something we're not really ready to fight just yet, but we'll give it a peek. Ragnar the Counselor's got a satchel with a scroll attached. As you approach, he shows you the name of another ill-fated noble, and asks if you can help their town where this nobleman has failed. He smiles. This will make you rich, my friend. Okay, so far so good. It's a reasonable amount for a 3-skull, which certainly implies more conventional foes. My goodness, that is a lot of webnecks. You know what, we're going to get a little catty here and perhaps see if we can find something else to lure them into. Undead aren't ideal, but they'll work in a pinch. I mean, I would prefer an enemy that's actually vulnerable to poison, but all we really need is something to break up the swarm. Finding themselves faced with a crawling carpet of chitin, the raiders swiftly retreat to the nearest fortified structure in view. As they hug the crumbling walls of the ancient graveyard, low, guttural moans echo amongst toppled tombs. Spiders on their flank, undead ahead. The raiders swiftly fall back, taking up a fortified position. No necromancer in sight, though spectral figures waft in the morning mist. Arrow quickly gestures, and the rest of the raiders follow, regrouping on his position. the Geists actually aren't that big a deal. If they go for the Webneck will deal with them very quickly. All it takes is one tap to disrupt their corporeal form. If there was something like a Necromancer or... Oh, interesting. Are they actually going for the eggs? I didn't realize they recognized that as a valid target, but they're definitely grouping up on it. Wow, that actually really helps us out as well. With no infernal intellect to guide them, the wretched undead scatter, filmy eyes drawn to every semblance of motion, every sign of life intruding on their unholy grounds. The specters quickly follow suit, dissipating into the surrounding mists. And the Webnecked, simply drawn by motion, unable to discern between living and undead prey, respond in kind, drawn by what, to them, seems sluggish and easy prey. The raiders turn their attention towards the few that remain focused on them. Shields raised, weapons at the ready. In the distance, unholy shrieks pierce the dismal gloom. Muscles tense, spines shiver, but confidence buoyed by the nearby banner. The raiders fight on, undeterred. Big concern is where this cluster goes once they've scrambled those eggs. Though immediately seeing at least some peeling off north definitely bodes well for us. Could go either way with those Geists, but I think they'll get swarmed before they pose much threat to us. Oh, yeah, they're done for. That is actually fantastic for us. The only downside being that we don't now get their spectral essence. Sadly, at some point, the developers realized people were commonly doing this sort of thing to get easy loot. So now they only actually drop stuff if the player specifically strikes the killing blow. Which I get from like a game balance standpoint, especially when it comes to cheesing allied units, you know, leading them to their death deliberately. But I feel it makes a lot less sense in circumstances like this. Drakiith strikes down the first foe, running a shambling figure through with his sword. Spiders scurry in from the north. Rev tearing at one, shearing open the side of its bloated, fleshy head. Actually, where do spiders have ears? Like, I feel like they don't have conventional auditory organs. They would detect vibration, so that would be like a leg shot for them, wouldn't it? Annie holds an undead axeman at bay, while just beyond, a surreal tableau plays out. Spiders and sepulcherites tearing at each other with fearsome, near-mindless rage. The ghastly Geists, unable to adapt to the arachnids they find themselves facing, quickly fade in frustrated wisps. Normally sustained by fear, they find themselves literally starved of sustenance. A scattering of spiders swarms the raiders from the north and west. Arrow finds himself menaced. He holds, trusting in his allies to get him clear. Trust which is quickly validated, as Rook shears through multiple legs of the menacing Megalomorphe. And Revenant swiftly finishes the wounded spider on their rear. Eerie finishes another spider on the northwest. You know, there are some mods that remove the restrictions on drop to loot. It is tempting, but, you know, it also feels like it might be a bit of a cheat. Since it's not as the devs intended. Or at least as the devs overtuned, rather. I don't know. I mean, let me know what you guys think on that. If we're not explicitly going out of our way to take advantage of it with, like, noblemen and mercenaries, I feel like it's okay, but I don't know. Maybe we'll save mods for Season 4. This one is really more about exploring the DLC. A hurled javelin, another undead falls, only to rise seconds later, the weapon jutting obscenely through its bowels. The undead to the north fall with shocking ease, the chittering swarm turning dozens of gleaming eyes towards the sole remaining prey. I may have actually overestimated how much these Wiedergangers are going to slow the Webneck down. This might be a problem. A strike from Rev. Another Webneck's mandible near severed. Drakiith hacks down a freshly risen foe. The Raiders fight on. Too late to fall back now, but still hoping for the best. Yeah, see, the other thing I didn't anticipate is how much it would embolden the rest of the Webnecked. The confident flags make them even more dangerous. Though the Wiedergangers reanimating should hopefully slow them down. Even if just for an extra round or two. I will say, I'm actually genuinely surprised at how much damage the Webnecked are doing without their poison. I really always kind of assumed their... Ooh, goodness. Yeah, I always kind of assumed the bulk of their damage came from the poison. As is currently happening with poor Random. They're nickel and diming him with those nips, but it's the poison that's really taking its toll. Things are going to get nasty quick. Nice, nice. Rassel runs another beast through, hurling its bloated carcass to the grass. Balin hefts a heavy bronze axe in his hand, then steps out to one side. A hurled axe splitting another beast down the middle, like some obscene overripe melon. Verlin holds the south, Exhausted, but still keeping an undead foe at bay. Annie holds the north as well, tearing at the webs, ensconcing her allies. Eerie rests himself free as well. Random readies his shield. A sickening crack as his flail finds its mark against the spider's side. Fallen, but not truly felled. Some Wiedergangers tear at the webs used to bind them, briefly making their way free before Webneck descend upon them, tearing them down again. Oh my goodness, yeah, that's not great. This would have been a lot more viable if we had a fallen hero or two in the mix. Possibly even a necromancer, though that might have been just as problematic for us, I suppose. Rev spears a spider on the tines of his warfork. Rassel spears another, twisting one of its limbs off, but 7 more thrash in vengeful frenzy. Drakiith spares him a glance, but then turns north, rallying to Random's aid. Festooned with webs, Bowman uses his one free arm to lash at his foe, carving its face with a skinning knife. Grip shifted, Valen uses his axes to hack at the webs, freeing his arch-rival. Verlin staunchly holds the south. Annie the north. Increasingly exhausted, blood burning, Random struggles with being stranded. His thrashing quickly drawing attention. Another arachnid approaches. The undead horde broken. Crawling death draws near. Freed from his bindings, Archer decapitates his foe. Though winded and wounded, Eerie rallies to the north. And Rev steps up behind, impaling but not killing another arachnid. A deft strike from Drakiith. And another. One foe felled, another split down the side. Verlin continues to wail away. His own opponent broken, bones jutting at obscene angles, its body listing, but still somehow upright. Random hunches, drawing in ragged breaths. A sweet, brief moment of reprieve. And then yet more foes rush forth. Valen menaced. Though other spiders turning away as corpses continue to rise in the distance, only to quickly be felled. Finding himself freed up. Arrow once again knocks bow. A swift shot pierces a webneck's shoulder. A stab from Rook. The undead axeman finally falls. Eerie spears another beast on the north. Drakiith savagely hacks away at one as well, but it stubbornly persists in its pursuits. And he shatters a chitinous skull. Okay, let me just get my bearings here. Berlin's club finds another enemy's faceplate, chitin cracking. Sensing an opening, Valin interposes his shield and swiftly withdraws. Rassel stepping up to take his place. Perhaps not the best move, but at least in doing so, he'll have saved our one singular thrower. More foes fall to the north, but they are a very good distraction, if only fleetingly so. More silken strands fly. A searing bite, and King's Rook's blood boils. And yet he fights on. Another foe impaled. Arrow kept clear. Drakiith hacks another foe to pieces. Then the webs, adhering eerie. Rassel staunchly holds the west. Val hefts another heavy axe. A glancing strike. A nasty gash cut across bloated carapace. And he crushes a beast beneath her boot heel. The rest of the horde begins to very slowly and slightly waver. Here he runs yet another through, finally dissuading its offense. An arrow whistles, another pest controlled. A scattering of spiders continue their approach. Fangs pierce Rassel's thigh. Rook rallies to his aid, running an arachnid through. Arrow holds. Rev rallies to Random's aid. Here he cuts down yet another chitinous creep. Berlin shatters another neath his club. Weak and weary, Random still finds the strength to crush yet another. Fork you, Rassel mutters, as he pins a beast's leg to the ground. Drakiith cuts his way free, then moves to Annie's side. Here he slaughters a fleeing foe. Arrow cuts down another. And the horde finally breaks. Content with the food already secured, the unengaged spiders turn to flee. If just temporarily, they will doubtless return later. to claim their grisly feast from the fallen. Bowman spikes a shot through the neck of one spider, too stubborn to withdraw. And Rev finishes the job. The rest of the raiders rally, swarming the one that yet persists. Yeah, we really need to make recovery mandatory. This isn't sustainable in longer fights. Random hangs back, tearing at webs. Crawling death recedes. But for one which stubbornly gnaws at Annie's ankle. Rook dissuades the beast with a jab into its side. It hisses defiantly, whirling to face this new threat. And Eerie tears it down from behind. And the raiders, exhausted, injured, but still, somehow, yet still standing, regroup. Quite content to call it a day. Oh, thank goodness. That got way too dicey. We got really close with Random and Eerie, Rook. Rassel to a lesser extent, though he was definitely much more vulnerable. He's only got like 3 defense. And no level ups. Wow, really? I feel like we killed a million things, but I guess technically a lot of the carnage was actually wrought just outside eyesight. And look at that. You know what? I'll call that worth it. That's like 13 to 1500 gold worth of loot. Assuming we can find the right market for it. Not to mention a ton of gossamer. That'll be great for reinforced nets or possible armor mods. You order the men to scour the field, collecting parts as proof. A few make the mistakes of touching the hairs on the webneck's legs, leaving them scratching, quickly forming rashes. That's right, such is the price you pay for your rash actions. All right, raiders, come on back. Ragnar the Counselor is hosting a birthday party when you enter his room with a giant dead spider and fling the corpse across the floor. Its bristly hairs hiss as they scratch across the stone, and its 8 legs scuttle upside down like some furniture of horror. And it strays sideways and pops off the corner of a bookshelf and flips onto its toes and prongs there, as though ready to pounce. Chaos breaks out as everyone screams and runs out the door or bails from the nearest open window, a litter of colorful confetti playfully twirling in their wake. The townsman stands alone amongst the emptied space and purses his lips. Truly, Sellsword, was that necessary? You nod and tell him that hiring you was necessary and paying you will still be very necessary. The man shakes his head and gestures with a fake donkey tail at the corner of the room. Your satchel's over there, with the crowns we agreed upon. Now get that awful thing out of here and tell those fine folks that their reveries need not be over. Will do. Pleasure doing business, Ragnar. Alright, so not really much of our usual post... Oh gosh. Yeah, damn old cannot catch a break, my goodness. Unhold's up next? You know, that might be a bit beyond our current means. And what the heck, we'll also grab some more dog armor to help keep Warrior safe. Alright, not really much else to do, but let me get a gander at prices real quick. Yeah, not really worth selling here just yet. We're not desperate enough for cash to need immediate liquidation. Oh, but you know what we should do is rearrange our squad a bit. We've got some wounded who need time on the sidelines to recover. Hey, we're back. And you know what? After giving it some thought, random, defense issues aside, he's got a pretty deep health pool, so his main problem right now is mainly those DOTs. He gets hit easily, but it's the DOTs that were doing the real damage there. I've been pretty hesitant to start doling out the potions just yet, but I feel like this might be a good investment, at least short term. I mean, granted, it's our only one, but if the worst were to occur and something does happen to random, we can acquire another. Plus, if we're going to test these unorthodox concoctions on the raiders, might as well start with the one who won't question it. Which does, unfortunately, mean he's down with the sickness for a day or two. But also grants him a mutated circulatory system. This character's body is mutated, then propagates poisons and other hazardous substances throughout the bloodstream much more slowly, allowing them to be disposed of without serious health effects. Curiously, this doesn't seem to affect their ability to get drunk. For which I'm sure Random is grateful. Also, we'll go ahead and toss him this decayed heater shield. That's an extra 5 points on melee defense. That'll help a bit once he's ready to rejoin the front. And yeah, I think we're gonna skip on the unholds. As for our next destination, Tengval does not, in fact, have rare trade goods. But Agerstead does. They've got the Trapper. So they sell valuable pelts. But then there's nothing over Tonder, so it's Helvik, Agerstead, Oberberg. That's the core loop we want to follow here. Though we'll stray by the others if time and convenience allow. Still worth our time if they've got a quest or two to offer. But Helvik first, and then just kind of play it by ear from there. Oh shoot, timing's kind of wonky though. We're going to come in, when everything's closed. Also, yet more disappearing villagers, my goodness. Nothing notable on rumors. Let's check the contracts. Ah, caravan. To Tengval. That might be worth our time. We'll put a pin in that. Let's see what the 3 skull is. That, I think, is going to be our real breadwinner, but also, of course, the more perilous of our options. While you wait for Casimir the Burgomeister to explain what he needs your services for, you contemplate how silent and eerie the whole settlement is. Casimir quickly explains, "This place is cursed by the gods and haunted by unearthly beasts. They come in the night with glowing red eyes and take lives at their whim. Please, help us. 1,140 crowns when the job is done." Sounds good to me. I mean, that is pretty similar to what we got paid for the webneck, though. But also low enough that I don't think it's anything like Alps or Hex, which I think would be the main concern. Yeah, what the heck, we'll take it. Worst case scenario, I suppose, if it does turn out to be another webneck swarm. Oh, snap. Okay, well that is not webneck. That is actually a very tame amount of direwolves. Yeah, no need for fancy pants tactics. We'll just take them head on. All right, Raiders, let's do this. The villagers' dire warnings prove brutally true. Barely beyond the borders of Helvik proper, the raiders are almost instantly set upon by a baying pack of bloodthirsty beasts. Their pack leader bringing up the rear, a filmy-eyed, foaming-mouthed, frenzied direwolf, a literal rabid beast, both empowered but also under the influence of some unnatural ailment. Bowman opens fire, landing a few glancing strikes. And the raiders advance, meeting their frenzied foes in battle. Harry readies his spear, prepared to turn back the toothy tide. While the rest of the raiders rally on the south. Wrestle piercing a beast's side. Valen clipping another. Annie fractures a skull. Whilst Verlin soundly stuns another. The pack continues its frenzied advance. The leader engaging with Drakiith and Verlin. On the north, Eerie fends back foe after foe. But after several tries, one finally breaks through. A few frenzied strikes land, cloth tattered, leather frayed. But flesh mostly mercifully spared. One beast circles. Drakiith splits the Alpha's muzzle wide. Rook striking it as well as it reels. And Rassel strikes the final blow. The tines of his pitchfork piercing its heart. The rest of the raiders continue their counter-assault. Blows are landed, but none particularly dire. Eerie lands a telling strike, piercing a shoulder and side. One beast breaks, trying to run, only to be struck down by Drakiith. Flanked from behind, Bowman finds himself menaced. Oh, gosh. Overwhelmed by the sheer volume of attacks, a lucky strike finally slips past Rook's defense, shearing through his shawl and splitting his face asunder. My goodness. He is running on fumes. Rook swiftly returns the favor, shearing an ear from its head. Rev strikes the beast to the rear, tearing its throat with the tines of his warfork. Annie crushes another beast's nose. Valen raises his shield, not wanting to push a second beast into Rook. Verlin forces the other off of Rook, but is too exhausted to follow through. Oh man, this might be awful. Okay, yes. Thank goodness. That 40 plus defense still coming in clutch. Half the pack breaks. The Raiders rally. Rev strikes one down at the rear, freeing up Arrow. But the threat has not yet passed. Arrow once again readies his bow and puts a shot through the beast on the South's leg, giving Rook the opening he needs to strike the fatal blow. The tide has officially turned. One beast breaks and runs before taking a javelin to the back. The others find themselves steadily surrounded. An arrow from Bowman puts the second to last down. And, perhaps quite fittingly, Rook's pike claims the last. Whew, boy, goodness, that was rough. That one fluke shot almost broke the back of our fledgling company. But hey, we walked away with a pile of pelts, a nice loot item, and a couple of level ups to boot. Rough going, but it certainly could have been worse. This is also a dire reminder that we should really upgrade Rook's headgear. I've kept him in that because I really like the way it looked, but yeah, we should probably try to track down a proper armored helmet like the one that Rev is rocking. Also, his defense, while certainly not terrible, is also definitely lower than I was thinking it was for some reason. Which, you know what, I think makes him subject number 2 for our experimental elixirs. Down with the sickness, but also granted hyperactive tissue growth. This character's body is mutated to regrow skin and muscle tissue much more quickly than normal. Deep injuries heal much faster than normal as a result. They also seem to have developed a strong taste for red meat, but that's probably unrelated. Yeah, probably. We've got 50 days worth of venison in stock. I'm sure we'll be fine. Casimir the Burgomeister takes a few steps back. I see you've killed the beasts. That's a mighty fine pelt you got there. You drop what you've brought, the thick, heavy mane of beastly origin collapsing into a pile of fur and flesh. The man, almost too scared to get close, tosses you a satchel. There's your crowns as agreed upon. I'll go to the people and tell them of your success. Finally, we can be at peace. Yeah, enjoy it while it lasts, which, based on recent experience, will be 1d3 days. Alright, so we've got peat bricks, we've got pelts. Resale prices are decent, but not great. We could definitely get more. Okay, no. I think priority 1 needs to be getting Book Thief back into the fray, even if just in a support role. We can afford it. The earlier we get that XP bonus tagged in, the better. Not to mention, it'll clear our current ambition. Yeah, welcome back, Book Thief. Down a hand in the mask, but still serving a valuable purpose. Not much good in the field, but turns out he's some kind of savant. Second hire's apt to be a blacksmith, but that's likely a while out. Only leaves us with 900 to play with, which we could increase. We could double that if we sold our loot. Though we could also get a few hundred extra if we sit on it. I mean, I suppose the big sort of catch-22 is that if we do sell it just to grab extra trade items, the trade items are also items we're just going to sit on until we can sell them for a slightly greater profit. So we'll compromise. We'll take the cheaper trade items. We'll come back for the pelts later if we can afford them. But for now, we'll just push on. We do have reason to go to Tangwell now. We need another paying gig. So we will take the caravan run. That'll get us out there with slightly reduced cost to give the injured raiders a little extra time to recover. And we've also got level ups. Valen up first. Definitely take that +4 in range. Oof, kind of tanked that fatigue roll though. That's something he really does need. But this is level 4, so we're also getting gifted. Let's go +5 initiative. Push him towards 100 minimum, but preferably higher. I would like to make him Overwhelm compatible if possible. That plus Fearsome will really help even the odds, given our somewhat anemic offense. And then we'll round out his morale as well. We want to push that up to a minimum 60. Plus Gifted, which will again go towards ranged. Fatigue, definitely fatigue. And I guess another bump to initiative? Yeah, he has no stars in it, so that does feel like a good one to pick. Followed by Rassel. What you got, bud? Oh, buddy. Oh, man. My goodness. Yeah, alright. Okay. Let's go. Morale, push towards 60. 3 in range defense? Why not? We can't keep skipping melee defense. Even 1 point is better than nothing. Yeah, we'll go for it. That plus Gifted will at least get him up to 6 plus shield. I mean, I am tempted to go health or initiative instead, but let me think on this for a sec. All right, we're gonna go defense. Rassel may not be long for this world, so I guess there's no sense in really agonizing over it. But hey, maybe he'll surprise us, just like Annie. Best of luck, my friend. You're still a raider till the bitter end. Or a career-ending injury. An ambition fulfilled. So wait, the book thief's not a fighter anymore? One of the sellswords asks. You shake your head, and they scratch theirs. But they're still on the payroll anyway. You nod. The sellsword purses their lips for a second, then clarifies. And absolutely no fighting. You nod again. No fighting. None, so they'll just, fart around doing whatever task here and there? You explain that not every important role in a mercenary band needs to be one of fighting. After you've laid out all the jobs that others could help out with around here, the sellsword thinks for a time. Can they take up inventory counting then? Because I'm real tired of that. No, of course not. You'll never let your secret punishment go to someone else. Indeed. Right, and I guess we're on the move, so we might as well finish our trek to Tangval before we call it. But yeah, close calls aside, I feel like this was a pretty productive episode. Not a lot of level ups, but 2 surprisingly brutal fights, a fair bit of loot. And of course, Book Thief back in action. Sort of. I mean, I do wish he'd gotten more time out in the field, but such is the nature of Battle Brothers. I'm honestly amazed no one else has died just yet. Though some folks have definitely come very close. Speaking of which, we'll go ahead and take that dozen-man ambition. We're just 1 man shy, so that'll be an easy get. Reaching Tangval, the caravan leader turns to you, a large satchel in hand. Thanks for getting us here, sellsword. You take it and hand it over to Valin for counting. He nods when he's finished. The caravan leader smiles. Also, thanks for not betraying us and, slaughtering us to a man and all that. Mercenaries get thanked in the strangest ways. Yeah, it's a living. And we do have a 2-skull contract. Nice, so hopefully we can bulk our reserves back up. Ooh, though they do have very cheap tools here, which we do need. Resale prices aren't great, though. Right, because we just freshly supplied them. That's it. This does feel like a good place to call it. We'll hit the pause button for now. I will do the usual off-screen bookkeeping, shuffle some things around, purchase necessities, and we will pick up here next time. We've got a 2-skull contract on hand, so hopefully that'll turn a nice, tidy profit. But if not, we'll try our luck at Agerstead. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Erie V23, Revenant, Alois, Arrow Bowman, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.